Welcome back, I'm Alex, and we're forgetting about full-size trucks today, looking at one of the only true little trucks available for purchase here in 2025, the beloved Ford Maverick. Alex, come on, nobody likes small trucks, and that may be true, especially in the US market where it seems like the bigger and badder trucks tend to get all the attention. But in 2024, this was the 7th best selling truck, with Ford unloading almost 160,000 units. And aside from the Toyota Tacoma, this truck pretty much flatlined the rest of the midsize as well as compact truck segment in terms of sales figures. And I'm going to give you 3 reasons here today why this truck is becoming a hot selling commodity. And who knows, maybe this little truck is the right truck for you. This is a 2025 Ford Maverick, and Ford has updated the front end here. They've reworked the grille a little bit, reworked the headlights, and I think it actually looks really good. And this specific truck even has some nice hood decals, which I think is actually a really nice touch. Overall, it's, dare I say, just a nice looking little truck. I think what is really sort of attractive to me about this is it doesn't try to be something it's not. It's just a little truck, and that's all it is. Interestingly enough, with this only being a mid-range XLT, under the hood here, as we get your peepers up in here, we have a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated hybrid engine, which comes standard. And this is putting out a staggering 191 horsepower as well as 155 pound-feet of torque. Needless to say, you will not be towing your 30-foot camper trailer with this truck right here. There are a couple things that I do want to point out with this engine. First of all, you can see it's actually a horizontally mounted engine. It's an inline 4. Something you almost never see in a pickup truck is a horizontally mounted engine. Also, beside our engine, we have our hybrid motor, which is sort of all linked together with a CVT transmission, but more on that in just a little bit. Having a hybrid powertrain is fantastic for fuel economy, especially when you're booting around town, which is exactly what this truck is meant for. But it came with one major downside, and that is the fact that this hybrid engine could only come in front-wheel drive. It was not offered in all-wheel drive, and that's great if you live in Florida, California, maybe Arizona. But if you live in a place where you get snow, like up here in Canada, when that snow starts to fly, it is a tough sell only having a front-wheel drive pickup truck. Except in 2025, with this model, that's all changed. Up until 2025, if you wanted front-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive, what Ford calls all-wheel drive on these trucks, you needed to get the 2-liter EcoBoost powertrain. So you kind of had to choose from either really good fuel economy with the hybrid engine and suffer less traction, or if you want more traction with the all-wheel drive system, you need to get the 2-liter EcoBoost with less fuel economy. And as I mentioned, that's all changed in 2025. Ford is now offering the hybrid engine with an available all-wheel drive driveline, and I think that is a very nice upgrade, something customers have wanted for a while. As a mechanic, I can't resist putting this thing up on the hoist. I want to see what's going on underneath here and check out the new driveline on this hybrid engine. But before we get out of the sunlight here, I did want to mention that Ford gave this truck to me for the week, and I actually enjoyed driving this more than I thought. And one thing that really stood out to me is a couple of my buddies mentioned how sharp they thought this truck looks, and typically, again, with little trucks, people sort of just look down on them, and I don't get that vibe with this Maverick. I think people genuinely really like the way this thing looks. Well, we got her up in the air, and there's a couple things I want to touch on here. So first of all, we're up under the engine, and as this is a horizontally mounted engine, our engine is going this way, for lack of a better term. And so this is our transmission / electric motor, CVT, or a planetary gear driven CVT. And this is what drives our front wheel. So you can see our axle going to our front wheel, and then we have an axle leaving right here going to our front wheel as well. Yeah, some interesting stuff going on. It looks like a transmission cooler, which you don't normally see on a light duty application like this. You know, we got some plastic sort of coolant tees coming on here. I'm not a fan of those. probably gonna crack at some point. But what we also have is our power takeoff unit, and this sends power to our rear drive shaft if there is slippage detected in the front wheels. Now, I know Ford calls this an all-wheel drive truck. Technically, that's not true. It's more of a part-time four-wheel drive driveline. An all-wheel drive system means that power is always going to your front and rear wheels at all time. Not so much the case with this truck. We have power going to our front wheels all the time, and if slippage is detected on our front wheels, that power takeoff unit will lock up its clutches and then send power to the rear wheels. Nothing wrong with it, it's just technically not an all-wheel drive system. So yes, when slippage is detected up front, this power takeoff unit, which I believe is a clutch pack style, will lock its clutches up and then send power down the rear drive shaft to your rear wheels here. Now, moving down the truck here, we can see we actually have our drive shaft with a little tiny, teeny U-joint on there. But you know what, she'll work. We come to this thing right here. I was thinking about this for a little bit. I don't know what it is, but what I think it is that I think your exhaust gases are actually helping to heat up some coolant, which would then heat up your battery. And by the way, your battery sits right here, kind of underneath the passenger seat. That's what I think this is right here. I could be totally wrong. Maybe someone can let me know. But see, we have a little actuator here, which I would imagine would help direct the flow of exhaust gases, whether we flow through this sort of heater unit here or whether we don't. Couple of things here. It does feel a little bit exposed. Like I feel like snow and stuff might be able to get up here and potentially, you know, rip some hoses off. Another thing I saw is that, again, another plastic coolant line T here. And then we have some sensors as well as wiring on both of these actually. Again, plastic, not necessarily a fan of it when it comes to the cooling system, but this is a light duty truck, so it is what it is. You do get a little bit of a guard here for the battery so you don't completely rip it off. Moving down the truck, we have our little rear differential. CV joint going into a rear differential, which is fine. Again, this is a light duty application, but if this joint was to go out, you will probably have to replace this whole drive shaft, which I imagine is not going to be the cheapest thing. You got CV axles, which are going to drive your rear wheels. Again, it's a lighter duty application, nothing wrong with that. This is pretty much standard for any SUV at this point. One thing that I did see is that these sway bar links right here are plastic. That is something different. Plastic components on the suspension. Yeah, just different, I guess. Don't know how I feel about that, but it's light, it's probably very cheap, and helps with that fuel economy, I guess. Here we go. I mentioned this in my last video, just these wires are such a small gauge of wire, and I feel like are more prone to break than what they used to be. And this one is actually already rubbing on the frame, which is not necessarily what you want. One thing that's nice about this Ford's hybrid driveline is a number of SUVs today just put an electric motor back here and call it a all-wheel drive or a four-wheel drive application, where Ford has actually run a real mechanical driveline back to this mechanical differential. And I like that a lot better than just sticking a electric motor back here and calling it an all-wheel drive system. The first big reason why I think buyers are attracted to this truck is price. This truck starts at around $28,000, and in an era where sometimes it's hard to find a truck under $50,000, when you can get into a brand new truck under $30,000, it is certainly going to spark some interest. And yes, there are some drawbacks with that low price tag. Even with the all-wheel drive version, you're going to lose some off-road performance. I mean, the ground clearance is, there really isn't much. You're going to lose some towing capacity. This thing only has a max towing capacity of 4,000 pounds, but I mean, with 155 pound-feet of torque, you're really not going to be able to tow much weight anyways. However, you do still get around 1,500 pounds of payload capacity, which is very nice. And I would argue that a lot of buyers that end up buying full-size trucks could probably get away with buying something like this to do what they need. The town I live in actually has a bunch of these Maverick trucks for their parks division, I'm assuming. I always see them out maintaining trails, maintaining gardens, working around the parks, picking up garbage, and it does make some sense because there is still a lot of usable room here in the bed. You can put all kinds of tools in there, garbage bags, whatever, and at a fraction of a cost of a full-sized F-150, let's say. So I wouldn't be surprised to see other municipalities, other fleets start to pick up these trucks, first of all, because they're just so cheap and they still can do a lot of the work that a normal full-size truck can and is intended to do. And I know there's probably a lot of folks who watch this channel that would rather be dead than drive a hybrid. And trust me, I hear you, but there is clearly a market for hybrid powertrains. Let's take the RAV4, for example, which was the best-selling individual model in the US, selling over 400,000 units, of which 44% of those sales were a hybrid version of that RAV4, so there is clearly some interest. And this 2.5-liter hybrid powertrain is extremely similar to the very reliable hybrid engines in those Toyotas and Lexus vehicles. Ford has used a CVT transmission, like I mentioned, except it doesn't use any belts. Instead, it uses planetary gears, which gives this thing a lot more durability as well as reliability, but still delivering extremely good fuel economy. Speaking of fuel economy, that is the second reason, in my opinion, why people are buying these things, because, well, they are extremely fuel efficient. Now, the truck we have obviously is the all-wheel drive version, but still, with the 2.5-liter hybrid engine, we average, or apparently can get 40 miles per gallon in the city, 34 on the highway, for a combined 37 miles per gallon. Now, if you do opt to go for the 2-liter EcoBoost, you're still going to be getting 25 miles per gallon, which I think out of any SUV at this point is still very respectable. Ford wasn't joking around. I've driven 400 kilometers, averaging 6.2 liters per 100 kilometers. That's roughly like 37 miles per gallon, and I've been driving in the city, country where I live, as well as on the highway. So you can really expect incredible fuel economy. So whether or not you like a hybrid engine or you don't, one thing you just can't argue with is that the fuel economy in these trucks is incredible. And I think, once again, that is a massive selling feature to people who are looking for a budget-friendly truck. The third reason why I think a lot of buyers are choosing this smaller Ford Maverick, and I talked about this the first time I reviewed this truck, is just the utilitarianness, if that's a word, or just how practical and how easy it is to use this truck. Yes, you are losing quite a bit of bed space. However, if you want to access the bed, it's nice and easy. For example, if I want to get my hockey stick in or out, it's very easy. I can just reach over and get it. Where with taller full-size trucks, you know, it makes it sometimes difficult to actually use the larger bed because they're just up so high. I mean, it's nice and easy to get in and out of this truck. It's nice and easy to park this truck. So when you're going to Costco, you don't have to park at the back of the parking lot and have your wife yell at you that you parked too far away with your big truck. With something like this nice small thing, we can sneak right into these nice tight parking spots. Look at that. No worries, we'll stick her right in. See, look at that. Nice and easy, close the door, and your wife's no longer yelling at you. It's great. So if you are in an urban area, which I imagine a lot of buyers are, it's just very normal and comfortable to drive, unlike a full-size truck, which in the city can be a little bit unpractical. Ultimately, it depends on what you need or plan on using your truck for. If you're looking to tow a skid steer, this isn't the truck. But if you live in an urban area, you're looking to have a budget-friendly truck, you're looking for good fuel economy, you're not necessarily needing to have 8 feet of bed space. Again, you're not towing a 30-foot camper trailer. There's nothing wrong with having a Ford Maverick. And I think a lot of people are coming to that conclusion, which is why this thing sold well over 150,000 units last year. Now, I personally like to have my big truck, my big power wagon, because, well, I'm compensating for my small. Anyways, fellas, as always, let me know what you guys think about this Maverick. Is it something you would consider potentially looking at or even buying? I feel like the viewership on this channel is probably not going to be that interested in something like this. I could be totally wrong, which is why I want to hear what you guys have to say. So there you go, the Ford Maverick, the 7th best-selling truck in the United States last year. If you guys did like the video, don't forget to leave that thumbs up. And if you like cool stuff like this, do not forget to subscribe. Enough of me. We'll see you on the next freaking video.